$100,000 is a lot of money, but you don't need to spend it. If you're looking for the best, well-rounded daily driver, it's this Integra, and it'll cost you half of that. And in this video, I'm going to show you 5 reasons why the Acura Integra Type S is the best daily driver under $100,000. Let's get into it.
$100,000. That is the mark I am setting for how high the Acura Integra punches above its weight. Now, before I get into the 5 details, I want to make something very clear. This is not me saying other good vehicles do not exist. There are cars like the CT4 and 5V Blackwing. There's the G80 M3 and M4. There's the M2. There's other vehicles that try their best at making, fun, engaging vehicles also into incredible daily drivers. But in my view, none of them do it for the price better than this machine. Sure, the CT5V might be a better car than the Acura Integra Type S. It's got a supercharged V8. It makes 300 plus more horsepower. You still get a manual transmission, but is it worth $40,000 more than the Acura Integra? I don't think so. And that's where this car shines, because even though $51,000 is a lot of money, the car you're getting is a lot of car. So in this video, we are going to talk about the 5 reasons why I think this is the best daily driver under $100,000. And we're starting with one thing: the personality. The Acura Integra has the ability that my Kona had, but it does it a lot better. It can turn off and on its ability to be playful with literally the touch of a button. You see, right now we have the dashboard and we have this car in comfort mode, and you can see that by looking at the blue rings in the instrument cluster. And in comfort mode, the suspension takes it down a notch, the steering becomes a little lighter, the throttle becomes a little dulled down, and you get a car that is remarkably easy to live with. Now, the pavement on this road isn't the worst, but there are still bumps, there are still potholes, there are still undulations, and because this suspension is 3 clicks softer than a Civic Type R, it feels very comfortable. This is a very German-like experience. It takes these bumps with grace, it takes them with confidence, and you don't feel it in your back because these seats have lumbar support, right? So this car is very, very comfortable. But at the flip of a switch, we can take it right into my preferred mode, which is individual, where we keep the suspension in its softest setting, and we make this car a little more rowdy. The suspension is compliant, the steering is direct, this drivetrain is fantastic. So for $50,000, you're getting a car that on the weekends you can toss on a back road like we're doing right now, or day to day you can drive to work with just the touch of a button. And that's pretty special. Pretty special. So number 1 goes to the duality of personality in this car. Number 2 for the Acura Integra is this drivetrain. Now, other cars might have V8 supercharged manuals or crazy flat 6s or inline 6s or whatever, but this turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, mated to this absolutely game-changing manual transmission, provides an experience behind the road on your favorite back road that's unlike anything else. Now, I'm going to take this left here, and we are going to go towards my favorite back road. There are twists, there are turns, it's tight, and a car like this, in its individual or sporty modes, is nimble enough to sort of dart around a back road. You have the exhaust sound, which pops and bangs on upshift, or when you let off the throttle, you get that audio that you need to feel, an exhilarating passion when you're driving a car. And then you get to use this manual transmission while doing so, and this manual might be the best transmission under 200 grand. The throws are precise. The clutch is communicative but light and easy to use. If you don't want to rev match yourself, the downshift rev match system in this car works terrifically well. It doesn't get confused, it doesn't get mixed up, it just works. And that is reason number 2. This drivetrain, for the money, there are cars that are faster, there are cars that sound better, but none of them put it together like this car. The BMW steering doesn't hold a candle to this Acura Integra. The CT5V has a good transmission, but it's not as good as this. You see, this car just puts it together unlike anything else on the road for a price that is unlike anything else on the road. Here we are, one of, if not my favorite, back roads to drive in all of New England. I'm going to take a pause, take a breath, and experience for yourself how fun this vehicle is to just dance around on a curvy road. Just a blast. The steering is so good. The differential in this car just allows you to get the throttle on so much sooner than you would in a conventional car. You can go flat out in turns that in previous front-wheel drive vehicles would just understeer you into a telephone pole. It's that good, it's that fun, and then when you click down into comfort and shift up, you wouldn't even know that you just did what you just did because it's so comfortable, which leads me into point number 3, and that's value. While $51,000 might seem like a lot of money, it's actually the average price paid for a vehicle in the United States this year. And for that money, you are getting so much value. You're getting a car that's a canyon carver that takes turns like these in its sleep, sounds good while doing it, looks good while doing it, and is relatively efficient while doing it. Highway MPG we saw in this car was well over its number. We saw, I think, 31, 32 MPG. Check out that video for more details. But this car just combines all of that. And then on top of that, right, because you say, hey, the Civic Type R has all of those features, why wouldn't I just spend less money? You have a suspension that's recalibrated to be softer. You have an engine that is retuned to give you more torque. You have seats that are more comfortable, that provide lumbar, that have heat. You have leather. You have a 16-speaker audio system. You still have all the driver assistant functions you would have in a premium vehicle of this price. Radar cruise, lane keep, lane departure, all that jazz. And all of that is combined in a package that is the average price an American paid for a vehicle in 2023. And you start to paint the picture as to why this Acura Integra Type S just gets the job done. And it's one of the best vehicles for you to daily drive under $100,000. The value is truly there with this car. And it leads me right into number 4, and that's this interior. Okay? For the money, you are getting leather, you are getting Alcantara, you are getting soft touch plastics everywhere it matters. You aren't getting any hard touch scratchy plastics until you get down here, which is an area that you want to be a hard touch plastic because it's a place you often sort of like kick out with your foot. You need that to be. Now, in other cars in this price range, there tend to be some concessions. I mean, you know, we've seen cars where if you look at the door card, the top is hard plastic, the bottom is hard plastic, and only the place where you put your hand is a soft touch material. But that's not true in this car. The top is a soft touch plastic, the bottom is a soft touch plastic, and the center is a leather, right? And so you're getting an upscale material all around. This steering wheel, sure, it's not BMW M levels of thick where you have to grab it like this, but it is all leather, and where you put your hands are perforated so that if you sweat like I do, it's no problem. It can take it, right? This shift knob has leather, which makes it nice to hold on to, nice to grab. There's soft touch materials underneath the dash here. They easily could have put something scratchy. They could have put something that is just, harder but gives the appearance, but they didn't. They used a soft touch material here, right? So this car's interior is a hallmark for the price, because not only are you getting those materials, but you're getting a 16 speaker audio system, which sounds divine. Right? It's a really good audio system. It thumps when you want it to. It plays podcasts with clarity when you want it to. And sorry guys, there's some spit when I talk. It's bad. I need to get better with that. But I'm really passionate about this car and about bringing you all the cars that I can to this channel. So if you see that, I do apologize in advance. We get things like a heads-up display, which helps, which does a really good job at giving you information up here so you don't have to look down. Overall, it's just a really great place to be. So, as we get into reason number 5, let's do a quick highlight of where we're at so far. Number 1, the duality of the Integra is impressive. You can go from a car that does this, pop, to a car that does not. Okay, the duality is there, and that is something that is important to have in a well-rounded daily driver. Number 2, the overall driving experience in this car in a sporty scenario is the best, thanks in part to this fantastic driveline, this wonderful steering, and these really good brakes. That package is just unbelievable. Number 3, value. For $51,000, you are getting a boatload of car. 51 is the average price paid for a vehicle in the US, and this car, it's better than average. Number 4 was the interior. The space of this car is really premium, and you feel like you're in a good place when you are behind the wheel. I often say that the car you drive definitely impacts how you feel in a day-to-day scenario. And when I'm driving this car, I do feel special. And that's not just because it's gold. That's not just because I paid $50,000 for it. That's because the driving experience this car gives me when I'm behind the wheel makes me feel special. And the last reason, and certainly not the least, you might have gone through this entire list and said, well, T, I know a car that's better, that has a better dual personality. I know a car that has a better drivetrain. I know a car with more premium materials. But does that car have the same interior room and practicality as this Integra? You see, the trunk space rivals SUVs. The rear has ample room for 2 people. You can put 2 car seats. Yes, there's no 5th seat, but how often do you line up 3 people abreast in the back? I have ample room here. I'm 6 feet, 300 pounds. No problem. Passenger, ample room, right? There's tons of storage. Anywhere you look, you can put things. And that's the magic of the Integra, because not only do you have a dual personality, not only do you have a terrific drivetrain, not only do you have a nice, well-appointed, featureful interior, but you have a car that is practical as well. The Integra Type S is a hatchback with a massive trunk and seats that fold flat. And there's not another car for under $100,000 that puts that together better than this car. Now take to the comments if you disagree, because if you guys have seen my other videos, you know that I respond to pretty much every comment, and I want this to be a discussion. Because whenever someone makes the claim of best of, it's just that, a claim, an opinion. None of that is fact, right? Based on my opinion and the cars that I've driven, I think this is the best vehicle that puts it all together under $100,000. But I want to hear from you. After I've laid out this video, do you agree with me, or do you think I'm a little off my rocker? And if I am, what's the car that you think does this better? I'm Moneyshift. We got 2,300 miles on this Integra Type S, and I have loved every single one of them. And I'm excited to bring you 2,500 more before we potentially bring what will be the next vehicle on this channel. If you have any questions about the Acura Integra Type S, put them in the comments as well, and I will address them all. My goal is to make the car buying experience easier for you. If you are considering spending $50,000 of your hard-earned dollars on a vehicle, you need to know more about it than just a first drive review. You need to know the 5 things that suck about the car. You need to know the 5 things that rule about the car. It's highway MPG, how it is to drive at night, and Moneyshift brings you that information for every vehicle that I personally buy. I'm not giving this car from Acura or any sort of dealer. I'm buying these cars with my hard-earned cash so that I can be objective when I'm giving you guys the information on all of them. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate your continued support. We just crested 5,000 subs, and that could not have been possible without you guys supporting me along the way. I genuinely appreciate it. When I started this 3 years ago now, I never thought we would get to this point, but we have, and I really appreciate it. So thank you all. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.